Hi, I'm Brian, Service Manager at Whole Latte Love, and today I'm going to show you how to drain the boilers on your Profitec Pro 300.
All right.
So we're going to go over a few different instances, typically why you would want to drain your boiler. If you're trying to get all the water out that you can before you're doing some service on it, if you're putting it into storage, if you're getting ready to ship it out, especially when you're shipping, if you're shipping during the winter months, and especially if you're shipping to us during the winter months. We live in upstate New York and it gets really, really cold here. So to prevent any kind of damage happening to your boilers from freezing, you want to make sure that they're as empty as possible.
All right.
So I'm going to go over real quick what you can do to drain the boilers if, say, your machine's just kind of dead in the water, won't heat up, pump's not running, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty easy, and this is a similar thing that you can do on pretty much all machines for the steam boiler, is all you have to do is open up your steam valve because it comes off the top of the boiler. Drag your machine over to the sink and just lean it over the sink and let gravity do its thing. It's a slow process, but it will eventually get more than enough water out of there that you should be safe.
Okay.
For the coffee boiler, because this is an electro valve, everything's kind of difficult to get to in there. The best way that I've found to be able to get as much water out of here as possible is removing a couple fittings here. So if you disconnect your fitting right here, and if you remove your NTC probe, the only thing you'll need to do is put some sealant on this when you put it back in. But with both of those off, it breaks the vacuum inside that boiler, and then you can just take it to your sink and tilt it over upside down over it. Just because of what you're doing, I'd suggest probably grabbing another person to help you out.
It'll help.
Yeah, 2 hands, 4 hands are better than 2.
Yeah.
So, and just hold it over the sink and let it just rush out of there until it stops pouring out. And that's pretty much the best way to get that boiler as empty as possible.
Okay. If the machine is running.
If the machine is running, things get a little bit easier. I will notate that the way that I'm going to show you how to drain the coffee boiler, because of how the coffee boiler is set up with a extraction tube in it, you'll never get it completely empty just by running it. So if you do need to get more water out for any reason, doing that trick with removing the 2 top fittings there is the best route to take.
Okay.
So I will show you first of all emptying the coffee boiler. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. This can be done with it hot or cold. And then I'm just going to take one of these leads. I'm going to take the hot lead off of the heating element there.
Okay.
That way this can't heat up when I'm doing this, because it will heat even if there's not water in there, and we don't want it to do that.
Okay.
The next thing I'm going to do is remove the reservoir because I don't want it bringing more water into the system. So what you're going to need is a magnet to trick out the float sensor on the back of the reservoir holder. It's just a little black tab that you'll see back there.
It sticks out. You just hold the magnet near that.
Yep.
That way the pump will run.
Hold it in front of there. Your PID comes on, so you know everything's Jim Dandy, and just run it. And that's about all that you're going to get out of there. So, like I said, it's really not a lot. So if you're shipping this and it's super freezing out, below freezing, I definitely recommend popping those 2 top fittings to be extra, extra safe.
And there's one other option we'll talk about in a minute, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. We'll bring that up.
You know a lot about that, so I'm gonna. I like hearing about it. I've seen it done before, but so make sure that I got this steam boiler heated up all the way. And click. All right, it's fully heated. So what I'm gonna do is turn the machine off, find some sort of vessel that fits underneath here, and just open it up. Now, turning the machine off is important because obviously, again, we don't want more water being introduced into it.
And so it's just the pressure in the boiler pushing that water out through the bottom.
Yep. And I mean, you could do it just like you did with the coffee boiler and let the pump run with just water or just air behind it. I try to do that as little as possible because you run the risk of vapor locking the pump. So
Okay.
the less time you spend running the pump without water going through it, the better off you are.
So that other option is like a food safe antifreeze and running that through the system,
Yes.
which you haven't done, but we have received machines from manufacturers like that, right?
Yes. So the machines are shipped to us on containers that go across the ocean, and it gets pretty cold out there too. So there have been instances where, as a preventative measure, they have put a food safe antifreeze inside the machines, and then during our bench test procedure, we actually flush out all of the boilers to make sure that everything's free and clear.
So for that, you'd pretty much just get some of that RV marine antifreeze that's fill a reservoir and just run the machine, and usually it's like a pink color until you're seeing pink come out of both steam boiler and brew boiler.
Yes. It's not something that I have personally ever done on a machine before, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but as long as you're using something food safe and you read the manufacturer's instructions, and especially if you're sending it into us, if you do this, please put like a giant sign on your machine before you send it in, letting us know that you're doing this, just so that we can properly treat it afterwards.
Right.
So it's definitely something that can be done. Again, it's something I have seen done. I have not done it, so just research it before doing it if you're going to.
All right, Brian, thanks for taking us through that.
Yeah, not a problem.